PLC Network here with another unboxing, this time coming from the company Saramonic. And this is the Saramonic Blink500 B2+. It is a 4-in-1 wireless microphone kit for mobile recording using DSLRs, smartphones, or just about anything else that takes almost anything, because it's a 4-in-1, which means it adapts to multiple different types of scenarios. And with that, it supports Lightning, USB-C, it supports 3.5mm TRS, which is just your typical mic connection. And then you also have 3.5mm TRRS, which means tip ring sleeve, which is for mobile devices that use a singular port for both headphone and microphone in one. So that allows it to work with that port, so it knows what you're plugging into it. So you have 4 different scenarios, which pretty much allows you to use this anywhere, anyhow, with anything. And if those 4 connections don't work out for you, you can always adapt, because 3.5mm can pretty much adapt to anything like XLR, RCA, 1/4 inch, and more. And it uses a 2.4 gigahertz wireless system, so you don't have to worry about frequencies getting in the way. So if you're in a kind of a wireless heavy environment with a lot of different RF frequencies running this way and that way, using other wireless microphones around you, you won't have to worry about interfering with them, and they won't be interfering with you because it's all 2.4 gigahertz. And like many of these mobile solutions, everything is kind of self-contained. You have 2 microphones and a receiver. No lavaliers needed. These are the lavaliers. So you have everything inside this charging case that keeps them charged throughout the day, giving you plenty of time. In fact, up to 40 hours, because on a single battery life, you can get up to 20 hours, which is 20 hours with the transmitters and up to 16 hours with the receiver, and then double that with a case. So up-ish to 40 hours, and really it's 16 plus 16, not 20, but they're saying it's 40 hours. So, but if you play your cards right, you might actually get that. And you don't need anything else. There is really no other accessories to worry about, and it just plugs into everything. It has plenty of battery life. It doesn't have any wired lavs or anything to deal with. You just clip them on your subject and you go. But what's also good about that is this supports both clips and magnets, so that way it'll clip to your shirt like regular lav does, or it'll use magnets to be able to clip to a shirt by using a backing. And of course, it comes with all of the features you normally find in a modern microphone kit, which includes your ability to choose between mono and stereo, which means you can either record both microphones into both the left and right channel at the same time, or you can do a stereo split, which means one microphone will go to the left, the other microphone will go to the right. You also have a safety track option, which means it can also record internally as a backup in case whatever you're feeding, has a hiccup. Let it be, let's say, your DSLR or something else. Let's say that for some reason the audio feed wasn't working, forgot to plug it into the camera or something. If you have the safety track mode enabled, you'll be able to pull it out of the kit itself and use that as a backup. It has 2 different levels of noise reduction to choose from, and pretty much all of these mobile kits now have noise reduction, and all that does is kind of cancel out some of the noise in your environment. So if there's a lot of stuff happening, a lot of room noise, and you're trying to focus on just the people that are talking that you have mic'd, it'll help kind of filter all the other stuff out and focus on just those voices. And of course, it can provide up to 48K 24-bit sound, and has a frequency response range between 20 Hz and 20 kHz, which pretty much covers everything within the human range. And to make it even more all-inclusive, you don't really need anything else. If you're using this with a mobile device, you can always download Saramonic's app and record the audio directly to the app. So that way you don't have to worry about any other hardware or anything. You can just use that app for any of the audio recording and go from there, which pretty much takes care of needing a field recorder if you're recording audio from a separate device instead of directly into the camera. Your phone becomes the field recorder. And then there's the price. The price is only $130, or really $129, and that puts it at a very attractive price point, because at $130, that's not a lot. And a lot of the microphone kits out there, professional level microphone kits, are going to cost you anywhere between, say, $500 and $2,500. This is $130. So if you're just getting your feet wet in the industry and you're just wanting to mic somebody and make it quick without breaking the bank, here's an option. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this up. We're going to see what it comes with, what it looks like on the inside, and then we're going to hook it up and see what it sounds like. So you have 2 different compartments in here. You have what's clearly the charging case with the mics in it, and I'm going to guess that this is the accessories. And in the accessories, you get some documentation on how to use the microphone kit. You have a quality certification tag here, as well as some warranty information, a warranty card that you can fill out and send in or do it online. And then you have a drawstring bag, which is going to be mostly for your accessories since you have a case to protect everything with. But if you do want to slide the case in here for some added protection, it does have a pocket here that or a divider that splits it in two different sections. So one side can be for the unit and the other side can be for your accessories. So you have two different windscreens here, and these are just going to pop onto the top of the microphones. So if you're recording outside and you have a lot of wind that's picking up into the microphone, you can pop one of these on there to help reduce that or eliminate it altogether. This also works indoors or outdoors when it comes to the speaker. If they seem to be a mouth breather and they're going to keep pointing downwards, you're going to reduce some of that air coming from their mouth using one of these. Of course, if you do that, they are going to obviously be more noticeable when they're clipped to the subject because you're going to have this big furry ball hanging off the side of it. Now you have three cables. You have USB-C to USB-A for charging it. You have two of the 3.5 millimeter cables. So it looks like natively it is a 3.5 millimeter connection on the receiver. On the other end of this is going to be 3.5 for those devices that take 3.5. And that means a singular mic input that only is designed to take a microphone, no headphones. Now if you have an input that takes both, like I said, you have that TRRS, which means tip, ring, sleeve. And this is going to be able to work with those devices, smartphones, laptops, tablets, anything that uses a singular connection for both headphones, microphones, or a headset. This will allow you to be able to make use of that with that device. And this case is definitely, it's different, and it kind of looks like I don't know why, but for some reason I want to call it a jewelry box. Its design, it has four legs. Usually you don't see legs on any of these mobile cases. That's something interesting. But you got four legs right there. On the back, you have a USB-C connection, again, for charging everything. Everything charges together as one with everything inside the case. On the front, you have your LEDs. This is just your static LEDs to show you what the current charge. Normally, when you open and close it, you'll get that charge that pops up right here. But of course, they're probably going to have some kind of a protector on the contacts on the bottom, which they do. So first you'd have to take those off, put those in the case. Once they're in the case, you're going to see what the current charge of the case is as it's charging the device. So the case, I mean, in general, the case is a case. It charges. There's nothing special about that. It keeps them charged. It charges itself. It's just the design that's a little bit different. Again, kind of like a box design instead of just a normal case. It is kind of like a box. You expect there to be rings or something in there. I don't know why. That's what comes to mind when I see this. But you see Saramonic's name right there, just right in the front and center, easy to read. They also have it on the top. They're proud of that name for good reason. They have a lot of great products. And then obviously you have the three devices on the inside. You have your two transmitters and you have your receiver right in the middle. Now these transmitters, they're small. They do have a little bit of weight to them. They're not the lightest transmitters that we've really come across, but they're not bad either. They look fine. I mean, they're small. You know, they may not be the lightest, but they are small. They have a clip on the back here to clip it to your shirt. You have your charging contacts here, which is how it passes the charge through the case. On the side, you have a noise reduction button as well as a power button. You have a USB connection here, which means you can charge these individually if you choose. And then the receiver, hopefully, has the same. It looks like it does. So that way you can keep the receiver going at all times and you won't have to worry about charging that up. Of course, with 20 to 40 hours, you have plenty enough time to use this before needing to charge it again. So you shouldn't run into any issues no matter how complex your shoot is. Now on the top here, you have your microphone and it looks like you almost have another microphone here, but this is probably going to be more for cancellation than anything else. But again, you do not need any wired lav like you see here for this. There are no wired lavs at all. There's not an option. The only connections on here are the ones that you use to hook the windscreen to. Of course, the two buttons that are on the side here, they're going to be multifunctioning buttons to be able to control various things such as mute. In fact, to make sure what we're talking about, we're going to pull up the instructions like you should be doing. And let's see, we have the on and off button, which is also your mute button. That's kind of common. So press and hold to turn it on and off, and then a singular press to mute or unmute. Then the other is the noise cancellation. Of course, you have two different modes for noise cancellation. You can control it from there. And that's it. It's actually pretty simple. So the only multifunctioning really is the power button. And then as for the magnet, you have that magnet on the back. So the clip is always on there at all times. If you choose not to use the clip, you can take this, put it underneath somebody's shirt, and it just hooks to their shirt or whatever else they're wearing. So this is for more complex situations where you just don't have something convenient to clip onto. You want to point that directly at their mouth just right, and you just can't for some reason make use of the magnet. You'll be able to make things happen. So of course, you got two of those. Let's take a look at the receiver. The receiver is also very simple. You have two connections on the side here. You have your audio out. This is going to be going to your camera. You have a headphone jack. This is for live monitoring, so you can listen to the audio as it's recording live. At least your camera guy is going to be doing that. You have an OLED screen right here in the front, so it can see the status of the connected microphones to it, as well as things like battery life and signal quality. And you're going to have two LEDs here to show your status. That's going to help you tell if something is muted or not. Then you have two buttons on the side. You have your power button here that obviously turns the receiver on and off. And then you have a mode button for switching between modes, like stereo, mono, or safety track. And just to confirm we're not missing anything, we're looking at the instructions now. It's exactly that. On-off button is a press and hold. And I'm actually somewhat wrong. The M button is more of a menu button. So it's not just modes, it's a menu. And you're taking advantage of that small little OLED screen there. You can actually press it once to bring up a menu page, press it again to turn between each pages. And then you have your access option by pressing and holding it down. So you're accessing the options within that menu page. And then you're just seeing the functions of that page with single presses. And then you press and hold again to save. And that bounces you back to the menu. And you can switch again, press and hold to go into the menu, edit, press and hold, save. And then a double press, a quick double press of the power button actually, is going to send you back to the home screen if you just want to get out of the menu. So it sounds like it's relatively easy to work with. Again, just two buttons. You just got to learn their patterns of press, double press, or press and hold. And of course, stereo, mono, and safety track are going to be located inside that menu. And what's very interesting is there's a little rubber thing here that just pops off, and there's some contact points right there. This is for when you're using this with Lightning or USB-C. And this is where things get a little bit interesting. You have two little connectors here. Instead of having cables that hang off this that plug in somewhere, you have that USB-C slot here in the back, but that's not what that's for. Instead, this has an adapter that slides into place, making contact with, the contacts. And it slides in like that. And once it's in, it's nice and firm. This is now set for USB-C, so it's going to plug into your phone. So as you're recording, you're seeing the screen right in front of you at all times. It's kind of a neat way of making sure you have a way of attaching it to your device, not just plugging it in. And these little connections, it also makes it easy for them to store within the case, so that way you don't have to use the bag, at least if you're using this with USB-C or Lightning. If you're using it with 3.5, you still got to carry those cables with you. And the Lightning, same thing with the USB-C. Again, it slides in like that, pops into place. Now it's ready to plug into any iOS device that uses Lightning. When you're done, just take that out, slide it back into the case, plug that back in, close it. It's charging everything. You're getting up to 40 hours, or at least close to 40 hours, give or take. About probably 32 to 40 hours of total charge time, or usage time before having to charge it again. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug this into the camera. We're going to see what it sounds like, and then you can make up your mind if this is something that would work for whatever you're looking for. So now what you're listening to is the Saramonic Blink500 B2 Plus. We have it set to 0, I think, for volumes. You don't have to really crank it that much. So we have it in 0, and it goes all the way up to volume 6. So you have a lot of wiggle room there in case you have a device that requires a lot more input volume to be able to pick anything up. The menu system, we played with it for a little while. It's very easy. Once it takes a few seconds to get used to the whole click and then press and hold and then the power button to go back. Literally seconds. And then you're firing through the menu like it's nothing. You have other options in there, such as updating the firmware, checking the version number, pairing new units. So if you lose one of these and you buy another transmitter, you can simply pair it to the receiver by using the menu system. And you have the ability to enable a low cut as well. So if you want to enable a low cut, you can do that directly from the receiver itself. You won't have to do that in post. So that's also a neat option to have. So again, it's really easy to get through the menu, and this is what it sounds like. We have no noise cancellation on whatsoever. No noise cancellation. There's not any loud in here. This is a controlled studio environment, But what we're going to do is we're going to enable that real quick to see if that makes any difference. And it looks like I was a little bit wrong there. Actually, noise cancellation was on. It's always on. Apparently, those two options you have is either weak or strong. So weak is probably just a little bit of noise cancellation just to focus on the voice without being too noticeable, I guess, in case you're trying to still pick up some of that background noise a little bit for more of an authentic record. Again, it depends on what you're trying to capture, where and why. But then strong is what's enabled right now, and that's focusing on just me, so it's going to be less of a focus of some of the noise happening in the environment and more of a focus on my voice. I feel like a puppet master over here, and I don't know what I'm doing. But so this is what it sounds like. Saramonic Blink500 B2 Plus. It is a 4-in-1 wireless mic solution that can work with just about any device out there, and right out of the box. And then for the few devices it doesn't, you just adapt from 3.5 millimeter and go to whatever's necessary. So if for some reason you have an XLR input only device, like on a field recorder, then you can adapt to XLR from the 3.5 using an additional cable you can buy just about anywhere. And again, it's only $130. It's very affordable. If you like this, definitely feel free to share your thoughts below in the comment section. We're going to have a story about this later on at POC Network as well, once we've had a little bit more time to play with this and get a feel for it. But definitely make use of the comments, and definitely subscribe and follow us, as well as tick that like button on the video so we know that you like this specific video. As always, we thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time. If you want to stay on top of all the latest and greatest, and or at least the gadgets we cover, remember to subscribe right here. Subscription button. Click it. You're going to want to. There's lots of videos, interviews, previews, all sorts of stuff. Button. Click it.